Hello and welcome back to Lawfully Chaotic, season
Welcome us
2,
back.
episode.
Hello.
Welcome
We're
us
back.
Hello, Shunjin. early in. Thank you, Jeff. Welcome back, season 2, episode 3. Tonight we're going to talk about the Raven Queen.
Some more
because
because Barry did an amazing read of her intro
Right.
2 weeks ago, which was awesome.
Hello, Joe Hearns. Joe Earns. Thank you for joining. Before we start, so Sharon is going to allow Jason and I to make a statement.
and let us
I'm
emphasize.
just getting there. To make a statement, not a discussion or a conversation, a statement.
She's allowing us.
Yeah,
be
on
clear.
the OGL,
Yeah.
shit. So sorry, Jeff, we're not gonna.
When it's
rant
half
too
past a
hard.
freckle, that's the time for us to go on
Maybe,
with the show.
maybe if Sharon allows us towards the end of the show, we could bitch about it. But before that, you guys have any announcements? Yeah, we did. That's exactly what I'm reacting to. Is the D&D Shorts video, which was a revelation.
Very informative.
Announcements. The only thing I've got, well, first of all, I want to apologize. I've been very lax on my Instagram feed because I've been extremely busy with real life work. Not that this isn't, but with client stuff over the past few weeks, it's been eating up a lot of my time. But as of today, I think I finally have a breather and things should get back to normal. So I'm going to get back onto Instagram and post all kinds of good stuff. I haven't done a magic item in a while, so I want to do that. And likewise, I did, however, get all of our season 1 videos of Lawfully Chaotic up on our YouTube channels. Well, the RPG&Co YouTube channel and the Lawfully Chaotic YouTube channel. Jason, I don't know if they're up on the TTRPG Academy channel. But
Oh
that
yeah, everything is.
Okay, cool. So you can go to any of our YouTube channels and watch all 41st episodes except for number 6, because somehow we forgot to record it or we lost it. It is the lost episode.
Oh,
So some
no.
IT person out there can
No.
find it.
I think you're challenging me right now. You're challenging
What?
me to
Find it.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah,
how are
you could be right because I only go as far back as 12.
Yeah. So number
So
6.
that was that was back before
That was me. And
I
Adam.
started.
So it is the lost.
Oh,
it is the
yeah.
lost-
It's the Adam episode.
Yeah.
So number 6 is missing. So anyway, so that's my announcement. What do you guys got?
I'm stoked. All of our VODs are now up for binging delight, so go on ahead and check them out. We have a lot of really great guests that were on the show, so it's very exciting.
Hello, Uncle Pappy Sam. Who is that? I don't know who that is. But
Pappy.
apparently you're our most favorite follower, so welcome. Hey, 3 Miles, how are you? Is no one else hearing this music? Andrew, I think you might be having a stroke, so... Jason, you got any announcements before we...
For some reason, my Nightbot's not working. I'll have to look into
Oh,
that.
Fatal, how are you? Hey, what's up? How are you?
Yeah. Uncle Pappy
Miss
Sam.
you
That's
too.
Fatal. Fatal changed his handle. That's funny.
Nice.
So what have you been up to, Jason?
Announcement.
Wise, I've been getting back into creativity. Studio 2.0 is a third built. The final design is done. We've ordered most of the equipment to be installed, and it's really coming along. It's going to be huge. It's going to be. I know neither one of you have been in here, but it's about 3.5 times bigger than my current studio.
Whoa.
And my
hang
shelves.
on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt. Andrew, is the music right now, the background music, loud and interfering, or were you talking about the intro video? I just want to make sure we don't go through a whole episode and the music is drowning.
I've noticed in my games lately when I use the StreamYard video presenter, it's been having issues.
Okay.
And what I've noticed is you have to actually go in, bump it, and bump it.
Okay,
but a lot
we're
of
good. Your face is too loud.
My face is too loud.
well, there's always that.
Let me make one more adjustment. Jason, you keep cranking it up again.
No, you've got to, for whatever reason, they're having latency issues that as soon as you adjust the audio,
Yeah.
it spikes the decibels in the memory cache, and then you lower it again and it clears it out. I don't know. They've done something. They did a patch or they
Okay.
did something to it recently that this is their first bug that they've kind of introduced.
Okay, it's better now. We've got 2 it's betters. So
Yeah.
all right, leave it. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Jason. Announcement.
Special episode of
Finish your
technical
fucking announcement.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, just working on the new studio. Been taking a lot of creative time lately to work on I've been working on the creative stuff of the fact that I'm going to be playing this game for another 40 years. So I've been practicing AI art, writing, building things that don't require the OGL. I just being creative, just getting some time to build stuff, and it's been a blast. It's been really fun.
Awesome. Good.
And running 10 full tables per use.
Wow.
I still don't know how you manage that, but that's awesome.
Have you heard about the AI DM?
And on that note,
That.
on that note, how about we each make a statement on the whole OGL?
Oh my
shit?
God, you're so funny, Barry. You so triggered Brian right there. Did
And
you see
here
that
we go.
intake
Yep.
of breath? Brian was like,
So, Jason, would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
no, you go first. I can
Okay.
wrap it up.
So my information is mostly based on the video from D&D Shorts. Thank you, D&D Shorts, for putting that out. That is the final one, the 17-minute video, where he basically aggregated all the shit that we've been talking about and the leaks that he's gotten from inside of WotC, which were corroborated and cross-corroborated. And if you watch the video, he explains that he had his lawyers check it out. So basically, the moral of the story is that I trust what he has said, because he trusts what the people who told him the information have said. So it's really, I was really pretty blown away when I watched that video, and I realized that this whole deal with WotC goes way beyond OGL and licensing. That is obviously the crux of it, but it goes way beyond that, and it's kind of that the OGL is kind of not even in my head anymore. It is the realization that Chris Cow, who is now basically in charge at WotC, I don't remember his title. I think it's something in charge.
Lead. He's like the executive digital designer or something like
right of digital gaming or something like that. And basically, you can go watch the video. I'll put a link in the chat at some point when I'm done. But so I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. But basically, what it comes down to is this guy. Yeah, exactly. Jeff just summed it up. So I kind of don't need to say what I'm going to say now. But basically, this guy comes from a digital gaming background. He doesn't play the game. He's never played role-playing games. His attitude towards the game itself and the community is piss poor, outright hostile. The word from on high from Hasbro came down that D&D is under-monetized, and as soon as everybody at the executive level, I'm assuming, over at WotC and Hasbro heard this, everybody's hair was on fire to figure out how to monetize the fuck out of the game. And rather than working with the community and understanding their own product, they're just taking their own background and expertise and shoehorning the game into that, which for D&D means turning a tabletop role-playing game into a video game. No joke. A la Fortnite or WoW. and microtransactioning the fuck out of it. And it really blew me away to hear that this is not only just uninformed decision making, but outright hostile decision making. And it really just makes me very sad. I felt more sad than outrage. I felt a lot of outrage, but I felt more sad because this is, for all of us, obviously, and for myself, a huge part of what I grew up with. Okay, that was, if I could say one thing that kind of defined my childhood, it was role-playing games with my friends, 3 of which are in the chat right now. Buying D&D to kill it, yeah, exactly. So I felt very sad because, like Jason stated, this is how corporate America works. And corporate America's MO is 1 or 2 or a small handful of uninformed fucks basically screwing it up for tens of thousands of people. And that is truly what is happening here. And this guy needs to be called out. Not that it's going to make an inch of difference, but he needs to be called out. And yeah, it is. It's corporate America. And it's just sad that something that has survived for 40 years in spite of itself, okay, is now going to be basically destroyed in a very short amount of time. And no, I don't think 50 years. Thank you. And no, I don't think that role-playing games are going to die. Obviously, that's not true. D&D itself, the game, might actually survive this. WotC won't. They've already fucked themselves. And there will be other role-playing games to play that come into the picture, most likely Critical Role's creating one, Kobold Press, Pathfinder, all that stuff. So, I'm not scared that, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to play role-playing games anymore. That's ridiculous. That's not true. You can still play D&D till your heart's content. But like I said, it's just sad that the way that they're going about this very blindly, for nothing more than the almighty dollar, it's just depressing, and that's basically how I feel. And I'm kind of beyond this. I'm kind of over talking about it because it's just fucking, it sucks. It sucks. And so does Chris Cat. I am calling you out by name. Fuck you. And I'm done. So Jason, let's hear your thoughts.
This is going to be interesting because it's going to sound a little strange, but so 2 parts, and then I'm done with it. Part 1, the don't assume that 20 years of something not being touched means success. That was a mistake on the community. That's on them. The community should have recognized that during that time period, they should have used a lot of opportunities to continuously rein in that potential threat. So apathy is not a strategy. And I think we've all learned from that. Number 2, corporations are not people. Corporations are not capitalism. Corporations are machines that want to print money for the people that own shares in their corporate stock. There is no moralistic quality that they follow. They are not religious centers. They are not moral principles. They are not people. They are not institutions that have your well-being in mind. And they never will. It's that simple. Corporations have a single purpose, and that is to generate profit and erode at the true nature of capitalism. Once you know this, sure, WotC is a symptom of the problem. This is where, as a community of consumers, you have to use the only tool at your disposal, and that is choosing not to buy product from a corporation to teach them a lesson. However, as a professional DM of the game, I will not tell people I'm not going to play something because of my own concern. I have 50 players. They love the game. They're not necessarily really exposed to this challenge or problem. I will continue to play a D&D, but I am going to curate it in such a way that I'm going to wean myself off of their paid content and get more and more into my creative side, get more and more into homebrew, get more and more into looking and trusting the players to be creative themselves. If you don't like one of their subclasses, fuck it, build your own and we'll have fun with it. You don't like something that they've put out and you could think you could do it better, build it, do it yourself. As far as I'm concerned, when I sit down to play this game, D&D, it's under two umbrellas of thought: condition and circumstance. Let's have fun with those two rule sets. And if we're having fun, then we play. If I have a table of 5 players that come at me and say, you know what, Jason, we've all agreed we want to try Pathfinder. No problem. Let's try Pathfinder. But I will not do what they're doing. I will not take away your license. I will not take away your consent. I will not browbeat you into a certain behavior. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm done with WotC. I'm done with the OGL because WotC has permanently made it toxic. And I think what's going to happen is that they're going to lose money over the next 5 years gradually. Some savior worth billions will come in and buy it and make it an independent title again. And there'll be a whole nother generation that will get to enjoy it as its rebirth yet again as a community game. But for now, it's in the grips of an evil empire. There are no Luke Skywalkers or Princess Leia's that are going to save it. And we're just all going to have to do what we can do to continue to enjoy the game. Yes, Vecna has the game now. That's how Vecna won. So that's it for me. I'm not doing the OGL stuff anymore. I'm focused on just learning how to, like me and Brian have talked about, trying to build content that's not sensitive to the OGL. And I practiced it. And over the last, few weeks, I've been publishing these kind of free little pieces of art that I've been working on. And I'm enjoying that. I think I'm ready to, move on. And
yeah, it's going to be
just get back to playing the game.
It's going to be a lot harder for me to do that, but it is something we're going to work on. So I can't personally boycott the movie. I have to watch it so I could say how shitty it was. So
yeah, he's got a Kevin it.
You know what? After this revelation about what's going on at WotC, I even now more firmly believe that this movie will indeed suck because it is nothing more than a studio film box office grab. So I have to watch it. I cannot boycott it because I gotta put my money where my mouth is. And if I'm wrong, I will absolutely admit it. If the movie is awesome, I'll go see it a second time.
See, this is the stuff that I miss. This was a Forgotten Realms publication from 1985 of a third-party publication.
Netagoro.
Forgotten Realms, Aurora's Whole Realms.
Your video's backwards.
I know. My camera's inverted. That's why.
I know.
But this is the stuff I'm going to spend my money on this year.
Jeff, you are never wrong. Jeff's mantra is follow the money. Not his personal mantra, but no. You have yet to be proven wrong, unfortunately.
So,
okay, with that,
yes,
Aaron,
let's move on to the fun stuff.
Thank you for our 15-minute share.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will cool down. D&D is resilient, and so is the community. I have no doubts that, everyone's gonna take back D&D for what it is. So
it's only failed its first death save.
It's
only failed its first.
It's only failed its first death save, but it's got its Vorpal sword. It's got its Vorpal sword. So it's Vorpal sword.
We are cleansed.
It's Vorpal sword.
And I think to Jason's point, even if it does die, there's always a resurrection spell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. I've been through 3 of them, so I know it's possible.
Down with the system.
I know. Crit fail is still fail, y'all.
Okay, ooh, let's talk about the Raven Queen.
The Raven Queen.
Mm.
All right.
Need to pull
Everyone,
up the
thank you for
notes.
joining us for another episode of Lawfully Chaotic. Tonight's special episode is about the Raven Queen, the matron of death, the Dusk Maiden, also known as the goddess of twilight. Ooh.
What is she
So-
in Critical Role? I forgot what he called her. The
Matron, I think.
the mage, is it?
Yes.
And actually, in the Tal'Dorei Reborn book,
Uh-huh.
he even like tweaks it a little bit more.
Ah,
So
okay.
he uses a bunch of different names actually to represent her, which I think is great because that's kind of the fun thing about deities, right? Gnome pyres everywhere.
That's my character in Gary's campaign. I am a gnome vampire. It's all about the sun.
Oh my god, you guys are
She
on stride
is-
tonight.
She is the god of death, fate, and winter, and she despises those who defy the natural order of things and needs to ensure that those that die stay dead. She watches over the world, anticipating each creature's death, and ensures it meets its end at the prescribed time and place. How have you guys used the Raven Queen in your campaigns? Have you ever altered her purpose?
Hold on, you get. Jeff makes an interesting point right off the bat, and then I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost in the chat shuffle. Very interesting.
Ooh.
What's
So
that?
I have used the Raven Queen. I do use the Raven Queen as a deity, and first of all, I think she's my favorite piece of lore in all of D&D.
Oh, who is this? Who is this?
It's Jeff.
Oh, I'm triggered. We're gonna talk about how this just triggered me.
Well, I kind of agree with him.
Of course you do. He's your friend.
So, Brian, how do you use the Raven Queen in your campaigns?
I use her heavily because on the surface level, she's an evil goddess, whatever. I think more people see her that way than truly understanding the neutrality and the fickleness that's written into that piece of mythos. Good God, what is my problem tonight?
Suffering psychopath.
Suffering psychopath. So I just think she is a really deep persona that you could use in so many different ways, and in so many different ways within one storyline. I use her as a patron for, whatever warlock character I have. She's my patron. But she drives a lot of the backstory. I don't want to get too far into it, but she drives a lot of the backstory of a lot of my campaigns, or is at least involved in the backstory arc. And like I said, I love the fact that she's kind of like almost like the tragic hero. I liken her to Thanos a little bit,
Kind of like an anti-hero.
Yeah. And I know Thanos was the bad guy. He certainly wasn't a hero, but when you really, I actually think that Thanos is probably one of the best, if not the best, movie villain ever written, because it was so believable, and when you really looked at what he was doing, there were reasons behind it, more than just I want to take over the universe or whatever. And I think that you can really, really identify with that character, and I think that there's similarities going on with her. Because there's so much there, you can really identify with her. Plus the fact that I think the Shadowfell is just a fantastic setting to utilize. So I rely on her heavily to help the story out in my campaigns.
Yeah, so is the Shadowfell like the realm of the Raven Queen, like specifically for her domain?
Yes.
And is she the only god that has like a realm for her?
No. but she is the only one. That is basically her realm. She sits in her castle in the Shadowfell. Well, and
She
the
is
reason
ascended. She is a deity. She is a goddess.
But
She is
okay, if
ascended.
she's descended, then technically she should be a saint.
So
Oh.
the reason why she has her own realm is because she's the matron of death.
Mhm.
And she uses her realm to guide people to other planes of existence as they either pass into the ether, the celestial. She's even willing to guide them to the 9 levels of hell if that's the fate that they choose for themselves.
Mhm.
But the fundamental purpose of the Raven Queen is to point out that all other deities are expressive. She's the first deity, almost the second, because had Vecna ascended, you would have had the Raven Queen and Vecna battling it out for the mortal souls of Exandria, or whatever world you want to use them in. So her existence is transcendental. What she represents is the fact that there's always a positive avatar available to the relationship between the deity and the mortal coil. The rest of the gods fled in supposed protection of the children. She views them fleeing as weakness, and the sealing of the celestial gates as, a weakness to the fact that you ran away from your responsibility, you ran away from your children. And she ascended out of that moral ambiguity and became the one and only true God of the balance of life. And I love it. I love her. I think she is a great way to center dozens of campaigns around.
Yeah.
And one of my players reminded me of an interesting point. You can have a deity and a patron, and they don't have to be exclusive to or inclusive to each other.
Mhm.
You could be a follower of the Raven Queen or the matron, but you could also have a patron that might be fey or could be mortal in the sense that there's someone you patron, but you could also follow a goddess or god. So I've got a player in our Wednesday night game, History of Tal'Dorei, or the Hidden Past of Tal'Dorei, that we've been running for about 2 months now. And we had a discussion over Discord about it. It was a good reminder for me to remember when I'm thinking about deities and patrons, they're not necessarily always the same.
Yeah, another thing that I like about her is, again, so the Shadowfell is the realm of stagnation. Okay, it is, everything slows down, everything is in grays, and everything is stagnant. So it's not only, the way I understand it, it's not only helping those souls along to the afterlife, but it's also questioning if they are ready to go to whatever
the challenges
afterlife. Right. So a lot of them remain trapped and stagnant in the Shadowfell, which I also think, and she too, at times, flips back and forth from this kind of stagnant existence to these fits of fury or rage or fits of love, and that's where she can then become a force for evil or a force for good, while not truly changing who she is at heart, which I think is just fantastic. And I think it also sets up, she was human, Jeff, at one point. And not a deity.
But I think that's a real good point. As she becomes,
she was an elf.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 different versions. I read that she was elven royalty in one, and she was a powerful mage in another one, and then in Exandria she was a citizen of Avalier.
Yeah.
Well, the first 2 do go hand in hand, and then Matt's got his canon for her also.
But
all good though.
All 3 of those stories
badass in all of them.
All 3 of those lores are great reasons why you should use gods in your campaigns, because it's regionally interpretive, right? Like if you're a Goliath tribe, in Western Tal'Dorei up in the crags, you may view Cord as an evil god. because of your own cultural understanding of athleticism, militarism, and how you prosecute your own culture, right? But as soon as you make it into a Mon, you know, there's the annual fight that occurs, and Cord is very much seen differently within a Mon. And that's why gods are so much fun to put in campaigns, that they really create unique opportunities.
Yeah, the Shatterkai were her followers.
Correct.
Who followed her into this either ascendance or descendance, however you look at it, into this realm. I also, another reason it is so awesome to use is because of that stagnation and that kind of way station to whatever afterlife they're headed to. That, I mean, you could set up an entire campaign arc on just going to the Shadowfell to rescue somebody's soul or something like that. I mean, it's just, there's so much. And you're right. A lot of it is the ambiguity.
So Barry, what would you do if that was your backstory deity for a character? How would you interpret her?
I mean, I think with reverence, just because of how, like, as people have mentioned, is that she's very ambiguous. Like, even the gods in all of the lores, they don't even know what to make of her. In fact, when she was given the position of, you know, the goddess of death, it was either, you know, you either take this job or we'll just X you, because we don't even know what to do with you because you're so powerful. The sorceress one is by far my favorite. Like, she's badass in all of them.
So you can either take this promotion, or we're going to put in charge of the new digital content for WotC.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Sam. I think one of the great challenges that the game has had at the deity level is that gods tend to be focused on trickery or greed or beauty or illusion, and because magic can't be explained, therefore if you explain it through the idea of gods, it becomes explainable. The one thing we cannot explain is death. Death is going to happen no matter what. So it's that great, you know, juxtaposed reality of the Grim Reaper tale. You know, is the Grim Reaper really evil? Because if we were all immortal, what's the purpose of life? If you have forever to draw a picture, you're never going to draw a picture.
Yeah.
You just aren't. Sorry, go ahead, Bear.
No, she totally reminds me of, like, the ferryman for, like, the River of Styx. Like, it's just guiding people into the next destination.
And the way that Liam,
yes, Sharon or Karen.
Yeah. I think the way that Liam played his character and its relationship with becoming a champion of the Raven Queen, and to know that to become her champion is to know that you're going to die. Right. And the heroic sacrifice tale, the hero's journey, knowing that no matter what they do, especially when Sam Riegel runs out of spell slots for Wish, that no matter what you do, eventually when you conclude your agreements, you're going to the afterlife. You're going to be her champion.
It's the modern version.
Which one's good? Which one's evil?
That's the modern version of Karen, is the New York subway across the river, across the Hudson River to hell, which is New Jersey.
Well, like in our Saturday game, Cher, how do you view your relationship with your deity from a playable standpoint?
Well, she hasn't really interacted much with the Wild Mother, but there is some sort of respect. Like, I think Mira understands that there's like a greater hold on the world, and she's still trying to navigate and understand it for herself. And I feel like she's sort of kind of treading the path of, like, kind of what Vax is going through in a way.
Does the deity lore help? Does it make it more immersive? Does it make you feel more tied to the character's backstory that you've developed?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because Mira is about, life and nature, and that's total druid MO right there. So, yeah, I think she's perfect with the Wild Mother.
And I think it's interesting because our campaign is going to be wrapping up soon. We're in the main stretch of the arc after 2 years of playing, and I've kind of fallen in love with all these characters. I've fallen in love with Gork. I've fallen in love with Abraxas, and I know we just wrapped up Fridgette's backstory just now, like after the attack on the Truth Seekers. Yeah, it's weird. I have weird feelings about this one because I don't want to stop playing this campaign. I've had so much fun with it.
We don't have to stop, Jason. We can keep going.
Continue the campaign
like
with new characters,
I said,
new story.
We could all ascend to godhood, and then and
but then are you truly a god?
Yeah, come on. There's more.
Oh, back to that earlier point about her still being human. That's kind of the remnants of her mortality gradually going away. And that probably explains her purple rages when it comes to her anger, that she has these shedding moments of memory that she's trying to deal with, because as gods as you've ascended into godhood, eventually you'll lose all those memories. You'll lose everything. And that's the narcissism of godhood and being a deity, is eventually you're all powerful. Therefore your memories are irrelevant, and your puppeteering and your control over the things that you want to give you prominence and power become more relevant. So either she's purposely clinging onto those memories to remain tangent in the mortal plane, or she's truly going through that angst of shedding her memories and becoming less and less tied to the memory of her ascension, which I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, you put that very eloquently. I think that is really fantastic.
See, I converted. Of course, she's a god.
Yeah,
goddess.
Well, a lot of her memories are centered around her previous love with Coralon, wasn't that?
Yeah.
That was. And
was that the god of death, or
no? Coralon he is the elvish god of something. No, he was like one of the main. He was like the main elvish deity, the sun. Thank you, Gary. I think what is so, she perfectly sums up the age-old D&D or role-playing game trope of the mysterious cloaked stranger in the corner. Like Aragorn in Fellowship of the Ring. Everybody loves that. You see a dark cloaked figure in the corner of the tavern. What do you do?
Smoking a pipe, and the embers of the tobacco light up the scary, unshaven, unkempt face. Steely eyes staring at you, calculating how best to take off your head from your shoulders.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of the Raven Queen. But is that guy sitting there a bad guy? Maybe not.
Well, and I think what's interesting too is that the Raven Queen kind of crosses the idea of lineage-based patronage or deity association. I like the world of Exandria. It reminds me a lot of Tauren and the Forgotten Realms. And I know there's been a lot of kind of like back and forth over that Exandria is just, Torah kind of rebooted because of the fact we don't get a lot of new Forgotten Realms content anymore, which makes me sad. But I understand in the world of Greenwood, it's his world and he owns it. And if he ever wants to, do something with it, he should do something with it. But I think one of the things that the Raven Queen does for us too is we can start avoiding lineage gods. Any lineage can patron her. She's not specific to Elven, Orc, or whatever. And a lot of the pantheons are kind of, gnolls go this way, giants go this way, elves go this way, dwarves go this way. And in the world of Exandria, to a certain degree, the elves are slightly diminished in the world of Exandria, right? The Mulzamir is ruined. The Singorn is about the only place in Taldora you can find them in great numbers. So they're back to being a very reclusive, not always seen, kind of lineage, which I like that about Exandria. It makes them more mysterious, and I think the Raven Queen could be, to some regions of an empire or world, maybe the Raven Queen is the goddess of mystery. Maybe in Drusar she's the goddess of plague. Maybe in Vasselheim she's the goddess of the unknown or the goddess of death, and maybe in Nicodranus she's the Stormlord's concubine. Because the one thing is humanoid interpretation of a god will always affect regional lore and perspective. That's one of those things I just love about deities and her, her ambiguity. I love the fact she's very ambiguous, and I love it. Yeah, you could, right? I finally have, I have this idea that this wonderful energy and this wonderful entity is guiding me safely through to death, right? And she's merciful, and I guess that's one of the things I love about the development of the Exandrian version of the Matron of Death, is that her existence could be interpreted in so many different ways that the lore associated to her could be incalculable. You could develop so much campaign, so much character content, and so much potential interwoven arcing with her, whether you want to make it a major plot point or just an abbreviated plot point. And it's good content. She's just really good content.
I think another interesting aspect of her, obviously when you think of death in a role-playing game and the Grim Reaper and all that, undead plays a huge factors into that in a very large way. And I think it's interesting that, the undead to her is antithesis to what she's really about, so that she actually is against like Orcus and his desire to turn the universe into nothing but fields of the undead.
Yeah.
Which is I think it's a cool detail about that, where it's not just, she's the goddess of death, so the undead armies are going to ravage the land under her control type of thing.
No, she's very much about balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was really happy with Sam's character, Gork. It gave me an opportunity to remake Grumash. And from an orc warrior's perspective, more importantly, a Templar of Grumash, I remade that in a very kind of, warrior's way. It's like, and it's been a real fun shit. I can't give too much away. It's going to be an interesting ending. And I can't wait to get Sam's opinion on it. It's going to be really fun. I spent an entire weekend writing out 3 endings for the Grain Lands campaign. And they're in that final stretch of the arc where one of those 3 possibilities could potentially happen. Although they're so creative, God only knows. I almost spilled a very important detail, and I'm just like, stop. But I will say it's fun to sometimes take kind of more baseline interpretations and just remake them for the sake of the game and for this, for the sake of a player that wants to explore something different with a deity. It does make for really fun backstory and lore.
That's a good point that you make, Jeff, about what is up with almost the entire rest of the Pantheon. And I'll go one further and say that, especially on the good side, you can do a lot with demons and devils, although I guess they wouldn't really be deities. But yeah, it's a very shallow Most of them are just very shallow and one-sided.
Well, they're
Right?
ancient. They're
Yeah.
ancient gods. They're from the time of, pre-calamity and the founding of, worlds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They can get boring. Like, I think Ioun, and I know we'll probably do some more of these in the future because I really love this as creative content because you could kind of use them in any game you want to play that's kind of fantasy genre based in general, right? Ioun is meant to die all the time.
That's so sad.
She is the veil of sacrifice, right? She keeps the magic.
She's the
And
Kenny of the D&D world.
Kind of, yeah,
Oh my
kind of.
God.
But what she does is she's very transitional, right? The goddess Ioun selects a champion that will eventually walk in her favor, and she is destroyed and remade, destroyed
She
and
really
remade.
is Kenny.
They killed Ioun, god damn it.
I think Cord is interesting and interpretive. The Dawn Father. I think that actually it's kind of like the old Marvel and DC argument. DC makes amazing bad guys. Marvel makes horrible bad guys. And I think the 9 betrayer gods are a little bit more interesting than most of the deities in the common pantheon. They offer a lot more interesting outcomes than
Okay, how about the heroes? How about the heroes? DC Marvel. We may have to have a show on DC versus Marvel because I think I'm triggered also. Don't fucking start in comparing DC.
Yes,
to Marvel.
Dragonlance. Yeah.
Dragonlance.
The total absence of the gods and then their eventual return. The Dragonlance use of Pantheon is always the most unique use of Pantheon that I've seen. And that's their total absence and then their gradual return or their sudden return. When the stars appear up in the sky, you can see the great platinum dragon and Takesis battling over the souls of Kryn. It's a great backstory. It's a great lore for sure. I love that about Dragonlance.
Yeah, I think before we wrap this up, I do want to share the favorite story that I have of the Raven Queen, if you guys don't mind.
Yes, please.
Go for it.
So this is one of 3 lores that I've came across, and this is one of them. She overthrew the god of the dead, Narul. Using powerful necromantic magic, she sacrificed souls to gain power to defeat him and claim his title. However, the gods had other plans. They were to give her the title, the Goddess of Death. The difference? You no longer wield souls for power. You merely guided them to the next realm. She was not pleased with this title and had no other choice but to accept it, lest she be blighted by the gods themselves. Her plans to become God of the Dead were no more. Eventually, she dropped the name Nira and was reborn as the Raven Queen. Because she was a powerful sorceress who just didn't like the way Narul ruled. So she's like, I'm going to totally take over the mantle. Pretty badass.
It's interesting you use the word mantle, right? Because in the campaign, it's the death mantle, right? It's her mantle that they recover as one of the prime vestiges, a linking to her pre-ascendancy and her former mortality. Oh my God, how could we not at least briefly discuss episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 2? I'm just saying, holy crap, the new Vox Machina drop is so good.
I haven't watched it yet.
I can't wait for you to watch it. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
I have to finish the first season.
When I put on my beard, I put on my belt, I finally get my beard. I love it. I love it. It's so cool.
Well, then I also like the fact that they show Zara and Cash. I was so excited.
Yep. Fun.
In Vasselheim. Oof. Yeah. But
take the time to watch it. It's amazing. It's really good. As usual, per usual, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you take 85 sessions and put them into 3 21-minute episodes. I don't know how you do it. That's a lot of work.
Well, here's the thing. that I like about that is that everybody that's working on the show is a critter. They have watched the shows and they know exactly how to condense and present, the world of Critical Role. Like if the entirety of the corporate elite in Wizards of the Coast and D&D Beyond were like that, I think it would be such a better world.
We'd be in Utopia.
Yeah.
We'd be in Utopia. It would be amazing.
Maybe that's the secret right there, Sharon.
Yes.
Is Critical Role should just take over D&D.
Oh, well.
I mean, to a certain degree.
For real takeover.
Oh, yeah, for real. But to a certain degree.
Takeover.
Yeah, I will be extremely happy when they have a corpo and I approve this message.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will be extremely happy when they could drop their deals and agreements with D&D. And I will honestly, I will tell you what, if they come out with their own custom rule set, I will start opening tables under their new set. I like narrative style play. I'm not going to go back to heavy mechanical play ever again. It's not going to happen for me. I love handing all of the control back to the players and let them feel like they're very centered in the immersive experience of the game. I like the narrative format. It works. It allows people to be mechanical when they need to be, when they develop. I think what Critical Role has proven, and they're going to prove it even more exceptionally, is that when they're out from underneath those corporate licenses that they're stuck in right now, you're going to see them blossom. You're going to see them turn into what some of the other niche corporations are doing. They're bringing in their community on a regular basis. They're hiring their community. They're listening to that community. They're making enough money to enjoy their lives, but not at the sense of greed and picking the pockets, picking the pockets of those that are their community members. And I know there was a lot of hubbub around their limited response, but they're under license, folks. They can't disparage in any way, or else they're under NDA and other agreements. So when
Mercer
they're out,
Mercer is not one to stir the pot.
No, not until he's completely shed of all the concerns. And I think he's recognizing that it's limiting his creativity now, and he's ready. He's ready with Tal'Dorei Reborn and Darrington Press doing well. Yeah. I think he recognizes that they're ready. That this is perfect time.
I am sure, and this is a guess. This is a total guess. This is not based on any information. I do limited work for them on the design side, but this is just all me. I would not be surprised if they have these plans already well in motion.
Oh yeah. Even like with Meta Pigeon, their publishing company, they actually showed it in one of the episodes from the Amazon show. So I thought that was really interesting. Like they're starting to put legal backing and corporations behind under their name, like the Darrington Press,
either they, hopefully, if they keep up with it, maybe one day they'll be successful.
To Ergrin's point, I want to take a minute to talk about that. Just a brief minute. The journey of the narrative playstyle with a player that's unfamiliar with the way it kind of works, Sharon is an excellent example. Jet is an excellent example of the narrative playstyle. They will recognize, they will understand that playground that you're offering, and they will get it. And they're going to get it in the sense that, wow, I have as much, if not more, creativity opportunity here than the actual storyteller has. Because as a player in a narrative idea, I'm feeding off what the players are doing and what they're saying and how they've organized their character. And I truly believe that if Critical Role is going to come out with a system to compete, it's going to be a true narrative system that will help both players and storytellers find how to have that journey together. I think it's gonna change the game. I really do think it's gonna be our first big change in the way that we play Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, if you recall, Vampire the Masquerade was the first true stab at that.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
people still love it to this day. They love it, that game.
Very light mechanics and very, very heavy on storytelling. So it has, you know, it is not unknown to the community by any means.
Thanks, Yoda.
Agree with Jason, I do.
You're welcome.
Although she still is not a god.
If you want any other solutions to life's problems, just you know where to find me.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that just wraps up our episode for the Raven Queen chat. You were amazing tonight, and I'd love to hear more about what the involvement of the Raven Queen was in your campaigns. So
you're not trying to use Brian for life solutions.
You're
kind of right. It only took 6 months for me to finally get my shirt.
Can you see something?
My RPG&Co shirt.
So. Oh, thank you. You're wearing it. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
Sweet. You too can own one. Go to Play RPGco.com and order yours today.
All right, are we doing rollies?
Rolly.
All right. Let me get
By the way, if you play online, I have 50 players that play in my online tables. Abandon the digital dice, folks. Go back to the honor system. Buy dice.
Dude. You're preaching. I fucking hate the digital dice, and these guys force me to use them. I hate them.
Who forces you to use them?
Gary and Jeff and Matt.
You know what?
All my oldest friends, the fuckers.
Unfriend.
Hey.
All right, rollies.
Oh, we're rolling again? Yeah, sure.
I got a 15, actually.
I got a 7.
I got a 6.
All right, Brian.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, well, once again, thank you all for joining chat tonight. You guys are awesome. Once again, I just got to say, you know, I think everybody in chat tonight is a regular. You guys really, really help the show, help the discussion. It's really awesome. Except for the digital dice. Fuck you, Jeff. I'm not covering you.
Fuck you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But no, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for those of you who watch the show afterwards. We are continuing to expand what we've got a lot of plans. I know I've been saying this for a while, but we do have a lot of plans. I think we're going to have a couple guests on over the next few weeks, perhaps. Maybe Brian Gomez, the Bearded Nerd, possibly Malcolm Trotter, Gentleman Game Master. We'll see who else we can scare up. But otherwise, Sharon, where could we find you?
Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Lawfully Chaotic tonight. Chat, you were amazing, and for those listening far and wide in the present or in the future or the past, whatever time you're listening to, thank you for joining us. You can catch me over here at Barrybot on Instagram, and you could also catch me on Saturdays on the Graying Lands campaign on the Twitch and YouTube channels of Lawfully Chaotic and TTRPG, where I play a Druid Calstar named Mayra. Come check us out, 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah.
Pacific time.
Pacific
time.
Awesome. Jason, where can we find you?
Brian, can you come over and set my DVD player to specific time? What's that, Jillian? Jillian, what?
James, where can we find you?
You can find me over at TTRPG Academy. And you'll start seeing some. I'm finally going to start selling some stuff. I'm going to be reopening my scatter terrain shop. I've managed to get a good handle on the 3D printer. I've ordered up my foam kit that I used to use back in the day to make my scatter terrain. And I'm going to make it affordable because terrain is ridiculously expensive. Awesome. And I think for newer storytellers, and newer tables, they could use a little helping hand. A nice 3 or 4 piece hill set that's only $5 or $6 that is very qualitatively built and uniquely built. And I'll go back to my numbering system because there never will be one that's the same. They're all going to be uniquely handmade and purposely made for newer tables that need that little bit of help with terrain and to bring those tables together. So yeah. And you can find me over at the Twitch Academy, TTRPG Academy, over on Twitch, where you'll find all my socials. So Brian,
that's awesome. I am super excited to see to talk to you about that and see what you come out with. I've been watching a couple. There's Radio Diorama. There's a couple others. I'll have to put them up on Instagram, and they do strictly SPX foam or whatever it is for terrain, and the stuff that they make is fucking fantastic.
It's expensive though. SPX foam is kind of expensive. I found a nice affordable way to build stuff so that I don't have to kill. We could go into this for hours, but yeah, I'm trying to build affordable outcomes because I know how hard it is for newer tables to be able to afford terrain.
Well, we'll have to do another terrain show then.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Awesome. Cool. You can find me as always at RPG&Co at Instagram. That's the best place to get a hold of me. But also Linktree RPG&Co. Website is PlayRPG&Co. So thank you for joining us again, and don't forget TPK. Tell stories, play games, and be kind.
Good night, everyone.
Guys. Oop.